driven to extinction for catfish bait. We're going to talk about that and more Boto dolphin, Amazon pink dolphin facts while we sketch this little swimmer. So let's just turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a Monday morning. It is Monday morning. It is Monday morning, right? On Monday mornings, you can tell it's Monday morning because on Monday mornings, I like to do a little thing where I pull a toy from the toy box, a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, if you will, and I draw it, and we talk about it. Now, that's kind of an inside joke between me and my online friends, because the truth of the matter is I do this every day at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So you may want to set that notification bell so you don't miss any of them. But this morning's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a Boto dolphin, a Amazon pink dolphin. It's a freshwater dolphin. We've done one before, but that collection was from the Houston Zoo, and quite frankly, I'm not enamored with that set of toys. It's a cute set of toys for children to play with. The money spent goes to support the zoo. I would absolutely encourage people to buy those kinds of things when they're at the zoo. Nice little memorabilia, but they're not anatomically accurate. They'll take a great white shark and paint stripes on it and call it a tiger shark. So I mean, they're not all that accurate. This, on the other hand, is a safari toy. And Safari isn't paying me, but Safari, if you're watching, call me. This is a Safari toy, and I love Safari toys for their accuracy. Got Rick in the chat this morning. Got Claudia in the chat this morning. Got Adele in the chat this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. My mom and dad are in the chat this morning. It's lunchtime in the Netherlands, where Claudia is. Is Adele in Canada? I keep forgetting.
I'm not sure.
Was it?
It's lunchtime there. It's the same time as Claudia.
Oh, it's the same time as Claudia. It's lunchtime for Adele also? She says, how are you still not out of toys after 379 days? I did buy some more just for sketches because I was afraid I was going to run out. But the truth is I do have about 500 of them. 400. I have about 400 with no duplicates, and then I have some duplicates that make it up to 500. But I only buy them for sketches, so it's not like I went out of my way to buy them for sketches. That's what they were bought for to begin with.
She's in Lithuania.
Lithuania. Aside from Lithuanian, what is the language spoken in Lithuania? And I know, obviously, Lithuanian. But I translate into several different languages. And I'm not sure I'm translating into... I don't believe I'm translating into Lithuanian.
I don't have a headache.
Why don't you have what?
It says you've got a headache in the chat.
Claudia said that?
Yeah.
I don't see it. I can't scan it fast enough to see it.
It's okay.
These things have a what's known as a melon on the front of their head, like like the beluga whales have. It's kind of a squishy, blobby thing on the front of their head that enhances their echolocation. And their echolocation is even more impressive than the ocean-going dolphins because they're freshwater dolphins. They have to navigate close quarters quickly, and the water that they're swimming in is often quite murky. And so much so they're practically blind. Their eyes don't really work all that well. They're small eye. They have small eyes, and their eyes don't really work all that well. And they're, like I said, they're practically blind. Their eyes, these guys, their eyes move independent of each other. And there's a handful of cetaceans that are like that, where their eyes move independent of each other. It's rare for mammals, but there are a handful of cetaceans whose eyes move independent of each other, and it allows them to watch for prey and predators upstream and downstream. It allows them to see multiple directions at one time, except that their eyes don't work all that well. They are mostly blind. They depend almost exclusively on their echolocation, which has a very wide range, up to 130 kilohertz, which is very high pitched, is higher pitched than most dolphins can hear. These guys have some very unique features adapted specifically for the murky waters of the Amazon River basin.
Claudia says you have to draw the label too.
The label's not on my model. The label was just on it when I took the picture. I should take another picture, but the label's not on my model. I probably should take another picture. All right. They're just kind of bullet shaped. Blue Daisy is in northern Alberta.
Yes. She's in Africa.
So it's 4:30 in the morning for her.
Yes.
Wow. You get up at 4:30 in the morning to watch us? That makes me feel so special.
She has the northern lights in her backyard.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. The bullet shape is very aerodynamic, so it makes sense for aquatic animals to have that shape for speed. It's the same reason I duck down behind my handlebars when I'm going down the highway. This is my favorite part of the whole process. I probably never told you guys this. This is the part for me that turns the whole thing into a dimensional drawing instead of just lines on the page.
So what's the illustrated one?
She didn't answer, did she?
What?
Well, I asked what, aside from Lithuanian, what would be the language
No,
there?
that was Blue Daisy, I thought.
No, Blue Daisy's in Alberta. They speak French and English.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Alberta doesn't do the French thing, do they?
She did answer. Let me go back and find it.
I saw Claudia say Russian, but I didn't
She
see
said they have usually they have English as a second language and Lithuanian.
Lithuanian.
Yeah, and the older generation speaks Russian. Blue Daisy said a pack of coyotes came in the yard and woke up the whole house. I hard to get outside and chase them away.
Oh my! You know, and I grew up where coyotes were all the time, and I don't think we ever had a problem with coyotes in the yard. Of course, we always had dogs, but I don't think we ever grew up. I don't think we ever had a problem with coyotes coming up in the yard. Of course, we also had very mild winters. That didn't last very long. Do. So there's a Netflix show. I think it was Bolivian. There's a Netflix show that deals with the mythological creatures of the Amazon basin. Kind of like, what's that one with that's based on the children of the Greek gods? I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, there's an English show that's based on the children of the Greek gods, Zeus, Neptune, and yada yada yada. But there's a Bolivian or a Brazilian show where it's based on the mythology of the Amazon basin, and there's a character Moranus that's a river dolphin that turns into a very handsome man. Turns out he's a spirit. Turns into a very handsome man. Turns out to be the father of most of our protagonists. Let me dry this real quick. So I do translate the show into Russian. Adele said that most of the older people speak Lithuanian and Russian, and most of the younger people speak English and Lithuanian. I do. What's that?
Adele said the reason is because until 1990, Lithuania was occupied by the USSR.
Oh, I remember very well. I remember very well in 1990. You know.
And then they started to lead into Western culture and consume a lot of English media. And she says, and of course, kids live on the internet, which is mostly English these days. I swear they used to learn to use smartphones before they learn to speak.
Isn't that the truth? You know, and I can't criticize them too much because I spend most of my day with my phone in my hand also. If if I'm not occupied at work, the first thing I do is grab my phone and see what's going on. And I just pick my phone up. I'm just going to pick my phone up. I'm just going to check my YouTube channel, or I'm just going to check my email, or I'm just going to check. And then like an hour and a half later, I'm learning how to speak giraffe.
Blue Daisy says the coyotes are bold and have killed the neighbor's dogs. Unfortunately, her dogs are fenced in for safety.
I hope that nothing happens to your dogs.
Claudia enjoyed the dancing with her disco tiger. And then Blue Daisy says she's working on the coloring pages instead of sketching this morning.
This is a nice. This toy doesn't have a lot of details and doesn't have a lot of different colors, and so it goes really fast. Let me dry this real quick. Yeah, Claudia is talking about how in the future we won't see or talk to each other. It'll all be app based, you know, and you'll be lucky if it's a live person and not some kind of bot, not some kind of AI thing that you've latched onto because it gets you. But I I don't know if you've seen the movie Wall-E. Wall-E. I don't know if you've seen that movie or not, but I mean, every day I see the kids walking around with their phones, or I see people sitting in their chairs at restaurants with their phone in their hand, and I think to myself, yeah, we're just almost there. Those people in that movie would ride around in motion in chairs and talk to each other on screens. They could be right next to each other in the chairs and they wouldn't have any idea. They only talk to each other in the screens. Good morning, Pamela.
What is that blue thing?
This blue thing is an eraser. It's an electric eraser. The tip of it spins and it kind of grinds the paint and the paper off of an area. So if I want to come back in and put a colored highlight, if I wanted white right there, it wouldn't work for me. I'd have to come in with acrylic or something to put white on there. If I didn't preserve it beforehand, I'd have to come back in with gouache or acrylic to add that highlight back in. But that highlight's not white. That highlight is pink, and it's a brighter pink than the rest of the animal. And so instead of preserving it, I carved it back out. They sell them on Amazon. They're not real expensive. They are. Yeah.
Because you can say what you want about the internet, but if it didn't exist, we would not hang out here all over the world.
You know, and that's the truth. The most important thing that I think has come from the internet is the shared cultures, the ability to meet with like-minded people from around the world. But you can sit here and you can think, if you've never been exposed, you can sit here and think that your country's way is the only right way, and then you start talking to people from other parts of the world and you start realizing, they think the same thing about their country, and they seem to be sane. Maybe there's something to their version, and you start looking at it, and you don't have to agree with it, but you can recognize that it has value, that it's a valid thing.
Oh, Cassandra's here.
Hi, Cassandra.
She says, don't put the electric bracelet on you for too long. It can burn you with the friction.
It can. It really can, especially if you let it get down to this metal part. And that's the biggest problem I have, is how fast it burns through the actual eraser part. I put wads of paper in the bottom to keep the eraser from, because even now, if the eraser pushes in, it's below the metal edge. So I need to put something more in there. There ought to be a way to buffer that up, like a spring or something in there to keep that buffered up. But currently, I keep wads of paper in there to keep it buffered up. Claudia says, I don't think the Netherlands do it the right way, but that's too political on here. Yeah, I try not to get into politics on here. I don't mind dipping into politics on the evening show, but on the morning show, I try to stick to the science and nature. What is today? Today is the 13th. But even I gotta get my taxes done. But even when I dip into the politics, I try to be respectful of other people's point of view, no matter how dumb I think it might be. All right, so let's see here. This is my version of the pink dolphin, the pink Amazon dolphin. We didn't even get through the rest of the facts. When it rains, the forest floods, and these things, the females will swim up into the forest during the wet season, and they'll hang out in the forest area, but the males will stay in the river area, and they will compete for mates. And one of the things they do to compete for mates is hold each other underwater until they die. In nature, that dominance is typically the males and the adult males and the young males, and it's considered infanticide, and it's not common among cetaceans. It's rare to these guys, but in captivity they just kill each other. They're very aggressive towards each other, and they hold each other underwater until they die. And so they have had no luck whatsoever breeding these guys in captivity. And they're considered too dangerous, too murderous to keep in captivity. Part of their mythology is they're considered guardians of the manatees. If you don't befriend the pink dolphins, you won't get to see a manatee. And Bolivia made them their national treasure, but they're still being hunted up in all the tributaries. They're still being hunted to cut up and use as bait for piracatinga is a catfish that particular catfish is prized, and and these dolphins are a particular delicacy for that catfish. So they catch and kill these dolphins and cut them up to use as bait for the catfish. And I can't for the life of me imagine an animal going extinct because you want to use it for bait for another animal. I can't, for the life of me. I just can't wrap my head around that kind of logic. Hey, Joe. Thank you for stopping by, man. So that was the pink dolphin. And there's my version of it compared to the photograph. Let's see what it looks like. From my perspective. I probably should take the label off of it before I photograph it for the stream. But there it is from my perspective. And so that's what I did this morning. Tomorrow, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Tuesday already? All right, let's see here. What could it be? Oh, the suspense. I know the suspense. Everybody's is hanging out hanging out for the drawing. 2024. Now you had to draw the label. Now there's no. I could add, the label is right here. The suspense on what this next little object could be. Oh my! This is. It looks like it's it looks like it's a spacesuit, but it is particularly the jetpack. What the main thing that it's stressing is the astronaut jetpack. That pack on the back there is powered by nitrogen and has jets all over it, so that the astronaut can stabilize himself as he's doing moonwalks. And it was originally an Army endeavor. They wanted to work on land, but they worked with steam. They had a little steam generator that they carried around with them, very heavy, but the machine was supposed to keep its weight up there. But it didn't work for the Army. But somebody in the Air Force, when they were developing for the spacewalk, they said, hey, you know what? That thing will work beautifully in space, but we'd have to use compressed gas instead of steam. Anyway, we will talk about that and a whole lot more fun astronaut jetpack facts tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time, when we sketch this little moonwalker. So you're going to want to set your notification bell for that. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. This is my favorite part of the day, when I get to art with my besties. The back and forth between the chat is what makes it especially fun. And it holds me accountable to my art practice. And it is often the only art I get to do in a day. So we have Rick and Pamela. We had Claudia. We had Adele. We had Cassandra. Joe stopped by. We had Blue Daisy. Who am I missing? Did I miss somebody? If I missed somebody, I'm so... Huh? My mom? I said my mom and dad. Joe stopped by. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I do look forward to it every day. Be sure and tune in tomorrow. Same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says to see me dancing, because that is how we know that the lag is caught up with the stream. It gives you a chance to click the clicky thingies this way if you're on the horizontal, or this way if you're on the vertical, so you can watch another video just like this one. It gives everybody a chance to say hello and goodbye, and ask any questions of each other if they had any. And the most important